still going to have to trim.
Then the rest of it's
vegetation
fine because
back.
she would like to
Yeah.
include the
Yeah.
conservation land.
So I heard in Hampton they have 10 extended.
All right, we're going to get started. All right. Welcome to the October 10th, 2024 Conservation Commission meeting, starting at 7 p.m. and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, Sue.
Yes. Ellen Snyder.
Here.
Jeff Goldnuff.
Present?
Emma Orton. Tom Jones. Colin Lawson. Juliana Tyson. Here.
Okay, and I heard from everybody else that they can't make it. Jess, David, Melissa, Chris, and Brian. All are not able to come for various reasons. Okay, public comment? Anybody? All right, we have the,
Excuse me. Do we need-
oh, sorry,
do we
thank
need
you.
to
I always
appoint-
forget. Colin will be a voting member, and you're the only extra non-voting
Body,
member here,
yeah.
so, yeah.
Sure.
Emma's non-voting.
So it would be a 5-0 on any.
Yeah. Thank you. I always forget that. Appreciate that. All right. We are going to review the September 12th, 2024 meeting minutes. I just had one change that I mentioned to Sue already on page 6, line 21. It says Melissa's writing the 300th anniversary book. She's writing the conservation section of that book. I believe the Historical Society is actually writing the whole compendium. Any other changes to the minutes? Motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Second? Second by Colin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Do
Aye.
you need to pass?
What's that?
Do we need
You
to
want to
pass them?
abstain?
No,
have enough to
no, we got
pass.
four.
Yeah,
to-
I'll abstain as I didn't watch the
Yeah.
video.
No, I think it's the number that are here, right? 4 to. we can-
Well, yeah, it's four,
Yeah.
four and one abstain.
Yeah,
Okay.
very good. Okay, financial summary. That's me. If I can find my notes. There's a packet here. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So the Conservation Commission fund balance is $136,183.24. The Shanda fund is $4,621.11 for a total of $140,804.35. We got monthly interest as usual. We got the second payment for LRAC for the Old Lee Trail Grant, which I included the report. I'll briefly mention it later, but we got the second payment for that. And we paid out, basically we paid out all the things related to that project in the incoming grant. Just an FYI, I did get the Piscasset River Loisel replacement rails done. We approved $230, but it was $235.70. I don't know if we have to reapprove or if you guys are just good, like, okay, it was an extra $35.70. You're welcome.
Looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, it worked out well. Those are pressure treated, and I think they're going to last way longer than the
You know the name is pressure.
yeah. Let's see. So we're going to talk a little bit later about the Wigan Farm project. That's under there, and of course we still have the outstanding Mitchell Land Protection Project. And we've approved the boundary survey for Heron Point Sanctuary and SELT doing the easement monitoring, so those are outstanding. Those aren't completed yet. Any questions on the Conservation Fund? The general fund balance is $4,873.49. And so far that's just Sue's time for taking the minutes. Any questions on that? All right. Great. Well, there'll be a few more things as we go along. That's interesting. Something else that we don't need. Okay. All right. Board reports. Town Council Brian wasn't able to be here. Anybody else have any updates from the council? I haven't watched anything going on there. So, okay. Planning Board. Jeff.
We did meet Tuesday this week, and basically the only thing on our agenda was to discuss the proposed zoning changes. we kind of started to get into that discussion, and then a member kind of expressed some displeasure with the way things were proceeding, and the discussion was basically tabled to further review what's been proposed thus far and have another discussion about that next month. We had a lengthy discussion about it, but it didn't really move forward at all. Basically, it stalled.
Were there
So,
specific concerns that some people had about them?
Yeah, the specific concern was the conversion of single-family home lots into more, like taking a single-family home lot and dividing it into smaller lots and putting, say, 6-unit dwellings on there. So, amongst other single-family homes. So that was the concern that you may have.
Mixed.
Say on Bay Road, you might have, single-family, 2 6-units, single-family. So, and it was expressed that that would seem like an abrupt, unnatural transition or kind of out of place. So that was the concern that was raised.
Who
And
proposed it to begin with?
the zoning change itself.
Yeah.
It's been in the works for quite some time. I believe it originated with some studies as to where to make some changes in town and increase housing availability. And so this northern portion of town was looked at, north between Bay and Dane and east of Route 108, and then also the west side of 108, and eventually it morphed into a lot more lands to be looked at. And so there were studies done as part of the master plans and stuff. And so kind of a town council, whatnot, and so town planner, so town manager, I believe as well.
Yeah.
And so then the town planner brought up an idea to possibly review the zoning across the whole of town and maybe kind of roll that into a larger effort, and he's applying for a grant to help fund that effort to look at the entire town instead of just these smaller areas that we're currently looking at. So I don't know. I felt like we worked really hard for months and months and fell apart Tuesday night. There were a few other items that were brought up that might be of interest to the Conservation Commission. This was kind of floated by another member. It was, and I don't know if it will gain traction or anything, because it was just recommended as an idea to think about, was converting, so if you're trying to limit urban sprawl into the farther reaches of town, there are some open space areas within town that aren't utilized for anything. That are part of close to town open space subdivisions. Or maybe there are town-owned lands that aren't utilized for much. And maybe converting those into usable land and for development. And some of them are obviously subject to all sorts of conservation restrictions, perhaps. And
Yeah, I'm
deed
trying to think of a
restrictions.
specific example. There's no specific
The
example.
example that was brought up was near the Pines or something, and near the elementary school. And we kind of were trying to wrap our brains on the land that member was talking about and couldn't.
Well, Durrell Drive has some open space, and that's an old, very old, much older subdivision.
Yeah, I mean, I offered my perspective on it, and I said I wouldn't support it. I would, because I think that open space in urban areas is beneficial,
valuable too.
very beneficial. Not just for the people's use, but also for any wildlife that gets there. But
Right.
I said that if you could prove to me that or came up with some sort of system where you're going to offset that use
Right.
and say we're going to convert this urban open space to whatever apartments, but you're going to offset it with 20 acres of high-value conservation land somewhere else. Now I'd be willing to start to entertain supporting that.
A lot of the open space with the subdivisions is open space around wetlands or next to wetlands. I mean, that
Exactly.
was why they did it, is so they could get more concentrated in the upland areas and then protect more of the wetland areas. So it's not really
Yeah.
very viable to
Exactly,
that.
and that was back in the time when they weren't required to have a bunch of upland within the
Yeah.
open space. Now
Right.
you have to have certain percentages of uplands in open space, so.
Is that driven by the state? Who's driving that?
The percentage of uplands in the open space, I believe it's by town ordinance.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, the open space subdivision is a town thing. We've had it for a while, but I don't know how you would take away people's subdivision open space. It doesn't-
I don't
that doesn't
either.
seem to
Yeah,
make-
so the idea was floated anyway.
Yep.
and
Okay.
So I just thought I'd bring it up because obviously it would be of great concern to the
Yeah.
Conservation Commission or interest. And the other item I brought up and I told Ellen I'd bring it to the Conservation Commission, that we have wetland buffers in town and they're no cut, no disturb buffers. So like during construction activities, if you say clear say someone did a 20 lot subdivision or something like that, and they're clearing the lot out to put in a building or house or garage or whatever, they're not supposed to impact the buffer at all. So, you know, I've seen over the years where, you know, a buffer is treated more like a building setback, like a sideline setback or a front setback or rear, where within these setbacks you're allowed to dig for a foundation, right? But you're not allowed to dig for a foundation in a wetland buffer, right? So I floated the idea to the board of adding an additional setback off the face of the buffer for buildings or structures, just like there is for septic systems, is an additional setback for septic systems. Different reason, but.
So setback from the buffer.
Yeah, and I don't know what an appropriate distance would necessarily be, but it wouldn't be probably less than 5 feet, more like 10. One board member did say that Hampton has a additional 12-foot setback for buildings from their wetland buffer. And so I'm like, okay, which I didn't know, so I'm like, great, that's kind of another town that's done it. And you know, so I didn't find that there was like resounding support for the idea. Found that there was some people that are very against it. The town planner said that, you know, as part of our rezoning effort, you know, we could look at any regs we want, you know, and maybe have that discussion down the road. So, you know, if it's something, I would ask that the Conservation Commission think about it, maybe kind of look into other towns that might have it, and, you know, maybe bring comments back that, you know, either say, don't, you know, we wouldn't support it, or we might be interested in supporting it, because I don't want to continue the effort month after month if,
Yeah.
I say I wouldn't have the support of the Conservation Commission, because I think you guys would be most interested in seeing that.
Maybe, do you think there's any examples in town where a building was built like right up to the buffer, and then when they're building the building, they obviously are in the buffer. There's no way you can build a building without being, right?
Right.
And so I wonder if there's any examples that we could show where there's been some impact. Any examples of where a building was built, you know, right next to the buffer, and you can't build a building if you're not, you know, you have to be able to get around to build that building, so.
Right, and whether or not it's to dig for the foundation, or
Yeah.
to put on siding, or
Right.
to put the roof up, or stage
Or future repairs are gonna be
Yeah.
out there, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, and the enforcement of the buffer is on the code enforcement officer,
Yeah,
once it gets approved by the planning board. And what aids a code, you know, I didn't bring this up then, but like, what would aid a code enforcement officer in knowing where that buffer line sits? And knowing whether or not it's been impacted, because you're out there in the field, and wetland flags might be 25, 50 feet through the woods, and so you're you know, depending on the type of soils it is, it might be a 50-foot buffer, right? So they're far off in the woods, and it's, you know, you can't tell what's perpendicular, and, you know, what's the a way to aid in knowing, at least. You know, if you don't want to expand the buffer, okay, or have an additional setback, okay, but maybe there's a way to write into the regs a method of required
map, rather than,
like
monument.
notice to the of some way of marking on the ground, so you know, the code enforcement officer can readily understand whether or not there's been a buffer impact. Because who else can do it as a pedestrian? If you can see it from the road, you can comment on it, but you can't walk out on someone's property and say, I think that you're getting a little too far into there.
I don't see that there's a whole lot of pushback. It could be wrong, but 12 foot is not a significant amount. You know, it's not like going to change the footprint dramatically, what people are putting in, but who knows? I mean,
Yeah,
if you're really making a tight development, then somebody could push back on it.
Yeah, that's where I think it comes into play. And then, like, even if you have enough space to build a building 5 feet from a buffer edge, you know, if it's really no disturb and you've got trees that are on that buffer edge, you know, who wants their house 5 feet from a tree? Like, you're going to be into the root system when you're digging, you know, branches through your window.
It's going to get cut down. Yeah.
It's going to be right there. It's going to get cut down. So the discussion kind of went to, like, what is adequate? You know, obviously there's a 100-foot pine tree there.
Well, I think it should be 100 foot buffer.
Yeah,
Right.
the discussion went a few different ways. Feel free to watch the tape, but there's some questioning as to, you know, what buffers are actually based on, or they kind of just contrive numbers, or are they, like, what is, you know, what is...
No, there's science, but they're a lot less than what the science says because people won't agree to them. But what if the buffer is bigger rather than doing a building setback? I mean, that's another way to approach it, isn't it?
So that was mentioned to me, and I don't think that achieves the same purpose because you can still build really close to it. So it's the idea to create a vegetated space of a certain size and then let people utilize the other land. Like, if you think a bigger buffer is certainly better, but if you think, you still want people building into it, right? If you're going to call it a buffer, you don't want people disturbing it, right?
Undisturbed.
Yeah.
Right. So if you, and if you think 25 feet's adequate, then why not let people mow the lawn around the back of their house, but not build their house right up to the buffer, right?
Yeah, well, I think it would be helpful to, you know, look at have the current zoning in front of us and maybe somehow some examples, either imagery or
They should,
way to show.
subdivisions that have been done in town should have proposed conditions, I believe, in them,
Yeah,
where they would show the proposed building location, and they should show the buffer limits.
Yeah.
So we could probably go back and look at previous applications, like, I don't know, like the golf course or Bowler Heights or wherever around town where houses have been built, or even
we
just...
could ask Mark West too. I mean, I'm sure he's done a lot with town, so he probably has some ideas about that too. So, well, shall we maybe give us a little more time, put it on a future agenda, this as a topic?
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking.
Sound good to folks to include it?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Thank you. And I think that's all I have from the planning board.
On the planning board?
I think 7. There were not many there this month. There's only 5 of us this month. As a town council rep.
Never been.
Town
Where is
planner,
everybody?
Yeah, and the board is full right now, I believe. Maybe 1 week. There were so many people absent this month, and the previous month I was absent, so sorry, I don't have the head count down. Do you know, Sue?
What?
How many people are on the planning board at the moment? I think the board's full.
I think the board is full, and
So I think
they filled the entire thing, so I think there's 9, including the alternates.
yeah, like Mikhail,
Mikhail,
and yeah,
but Jessica became not Jessica, but Abby.
Abby, yeah.
Became a full board member. So I think you're right up there.
Yeah, and Bart sits with us, so
Yep.
that would be 8, counting the town council rep. So I think there's 7 planning board members.
7 anyway.
Okay, good, thank you.
Did anybody zoom in for that meeting?
No,
Nobody zoomed.
no. We did have the minimum. We had 5 members.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Okay, Riverfront Advisory Committee, Shanda Park. We don't have anybody here for that. Just, I know the charrette for that is next Friday, Saturday. I think there's been some stuff going on about that, so if you have some thoughts about Riverfront, it's a good opportunity to provide input. Anything else on, do we have any questions about, I don't have any other updates? Energy and environment, Julie.
Yeah, I did want to follow up. I know Melissa's not here, but she wanted me to ask about the reps from CPCNH, and
Oh, yeah.
I want to know more about who came to her house, because according to Joe Lamonetta, there are no CPCNH people
Yeah,
going around.
it sounded a little bit odd.
Yeah, so I don't know who they were. He was going to inquire anyway. That's being pushed up just to the board, because if someone's
Scamming.
scamming, yeah, but they're not doing any metering.
Yeah, I wouldn't think they would have gone to
right now.
us, yeah.
So I did want to just touch back on that, that whoever was out walking around to houses was not CPCNH
Yeah.
people.
What is CPCNH?
Community Power Coalition of New Hampshire. So it's what Newmarket went live in March, but officially the first bill would have been April, that your power can either come from Eversource, I think there's a couple other people, or it can come from Community Power Coalition of New Hampshire, and it gives residents more buying power to decide how much green energy, renewable energy that they're getting. We are in a competition right now with other towns to get more people to sign up and elect to go up higher. Right now, the Granite Basic is cheaper than Eversource, but for the same price of Eversource, you can get, I think, 50% renewable energy. So we are trying to spread the word and get people to sign up and kind of elect up if they are able to, because we're in a little local competition with member towns right now to see who can get the most residents to elect up in their amount of power. And that's done through the CPCNH website. I can send it around to the commission to share. Yeah, you have to have your account number. Yeah, and go online, or you can call them. But and then something else that came up at our last meeting, I guess somebody had inquired about rain barrels, and I think the Conservation Commission had done that in the past. There was one volunteer. Yeah. And it sounded like it had been a lot of work, but Lindsay with DPW was up for, she said if the Conservation Commission was interested in getting that program running again, it would be something she could look into, and maybe instead of having one person trying to schedule pickups of rain barrels, maybe on household hazardous waste drop-off day or something, maybe they're at the dump, some DPW could have storage for them, and maybe help facilitate getting those to people who want to buy them. So she said if there was any interest from the Conservation Commission, and it sounds like the Energy and Environment is also interested, we can let Lindsay know and she can get the ball rolling on that.
Okay. There's a company that, I think it's the Great American Rain Barrel Company, and sometimes they do a community project, because that's how I got mine out at Dover, was doing it. And so I think the way the Conservation Commission, this was years ago, like probably 20 years ago, they actually bought them and then resold them, which is much more cumbersome than if you have people sign up and somehow, do it a different way. But
Yeah, we used to do that before Scouts.
yeah, it's a great idea. Do you think the timing would be more like in spring when people are starting to get ready for the gardening
I think
again?
so, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I need to come ahead.
yeah, we'll have to see how it would work, but yeah, it seems like.
Yeah.
We used to do them.
Yeah.
So the last we used to sell them out of Fred Pearson's barn.
Yeah.
But after that, they started to keep them at DPW for us. But interest dropped off, if I remember right, because they were only open on weekdays. People wanted to pick them up on Saturdays and Sundays. And I think most of ours ended up getting sold to people in Durham, which is fun.
Yeah.
Because we actually had the Durham Conservation Commission kind of also advertise.
So did you outlay the money to buy them all and
We
then
did.
resold them?
We bought them all and
Yeah, and then
resold
resold them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they're very
We did
popular.
ask about the dump, and at the time it wasn't preferred because there's one person working out there and they have enough going on. And to be-
That's why they were thinking maybe hazardous waste drop-off day could be the day, like, that you come and get it.
Yeah.
Their
It was
staff.
great. People loved it. I mean,
Yeah, they're great.
Maybe it's time
we
to
sold
do
them.
it again.
Do it again.
We did
Yeah.
composters and rain barrels.
Yeah.
Composters are
I
a big
can,
hit.
I'll let
Composters
the Energy Environment Advisory Committee know that there is some
Yeah.
interest then.
Yeah, excellent. Great idea.
That's all I have.
All right. School liaison, Emma, hi.
So, you probably got a few emails about it, but a citizen of Newmarket, Dale Pipe, reached out to my principal over the summer and was really interested in collaborating with a few of the clubs that I'm in about just kind of talking about the environment. And he brought up this charrette that's happening in a few weeks, and he's really interested in like finding trails. I forget what the point's called, but it's like across the Lamprey down by
Heron
like,
Point?
the boat launch. Yeah. And he wants an idea that he brought up that was most applicable and of high interest for our club was like kind of whether it's redoing the trails and like kind of figuring out a more safer plan to do that, or just clearing the trails out and kind of just cleaning them up with trash, marking them a lot better so that it's more usable, because right now they're kind of hidden in some parts, so that he wanted to kind of see where we're at. I'm not really sure where he got all of that information. I'm not sure what he's on or like any part of the community, but I think that he's just a person of our community who really wants to help out with that. So I just wanted to ask you if you had, like, because he said that he mentioned it to you and that you sent him an email about it, and just see if there's any other information we could get for that, if that was like an ability that we could do or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, trails is a great thing. Heron Point is, we have done a lot of trail work out there already. We've done quite a few projects out there. It doesn't mean there, you can't be more. And I know there was an interest in, actually on this side of the river,
Yeah.
from Shanna Park out, so I wasn't sure if he was interested in that particular one, because we have chatted about that there's an opportunity to sort of extend a trail there.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just have a little more conversation about, do you think your groups are interested in where you can walk from school, or is driving, what's the
I think
distance?
it's just, I'm not really sure it matters to us. I think
Yeah.
that like wherever we can help, we're able to. But just tell us where we need to be, and we can
Yeah.
be there. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, I think, because it's been, I don't think I did it this year. So for about 3 years, I've been working with the Newmarket Cares Day, and it's often been
Yeah.
the Environment Club, right? So we usually do one day in May where we go out to one of the properties. So we
Yeah.
can keep doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's probably a little bit easier for us, because, it's something we need to get done, and then you can help accomplish it. So we could just stay in touch about that, and I can talk to Dale to see if there's something on this side of the river, because there's always, it seems like, and the charrette might generate actually some ideas of things to work on. So does anybody have any other ideas about, having the students, help out with projects? I think it's a great idea. I mean, if we do this rain barrel thing, that might be a really cool thing to.
School actually that we used to water the trees that we've got.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it helps a lot actually, because during the summer we don't have access to
Yeah.
hoses and stuff like that, so we use the rain barrels and stuff like that.
Nice.
So yeah, it's painted, so it's pretty pretty.
Very good.
I didn't paint it, but the starters of the environmental club at the school painted the whole rain barrel. We had to like lift it up though, because it's so low to the ground, it like sunk into the ground, so we had to like lift it up. So if we do rain barrels, reminder to
Yeah.
put something under it so you can actually put stuff under it to fill it up, because that's a struggle right now.
Yeah, yeah. Mine's attached to our downspout, so it fills up, but you do have to have it up on a
Yeah.
thing, so then that you can use the hose to get out. And then there's Turtle Fest in May, so hopefully Chris will be in touch, or there'll be some communication. She couldn't make it tonight, so we're hoping you all can be involved in that. Cool. Great. All right. Thank you. All right. Conservation easement monitoring. Tom, do you want to say anything on that right now? Any updates? I know the one we had was.
We have one that still needs to be done. I don't know where anybody else is on
I haven't done mine yet, so.
their monitoring, but
I just reached out to South Dakota.
we're just not sure about the Smith sisters, possibly.
Yeah, Dave.
David may not be doing it, but we're not sure yet.
Yeah.
But if I can wait till after the middle of November, I could, but,
Yeah.
or.
Yeah, I could probably help you do it in November. I'm available.
Between the two of us.
Yeah, we could probably do that.
I might be able to help too. I have time Thursdays and Fridays.
Okay.
on both days.
Yeah.
Very
It's a really big, it's a pretty big property, so it's kind of a good one to, and it's an Audubon owned, so it's kind of a nice one.
Yeah, I can throw my hat in too.
Okay, great. Yeah, might be a good one just to get out and see it and
Yeah.
get to know it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna have to-
Yeah, And then the only other update is the Nostrum Farm, which is Jeff Cantara, New Roots Farm owns it, and it's on the market. So he's selling it, and it looks like the offer's pending. I saw the listing and I called the realtor because what often happens with real estate listings is they don't really mention a conservation easement and restrictions. So I did talk to the realtor and he assured me that he's aware of the easement and the buyers are aware of the easement. And yes, we haven't heard anything. Yeah, that's the one we're having.
Some snow.
We're having CELT monitor it now.
Having cell.
CELT, yeah. They monitored it. So that's probably a good thing. And the other thing I asked, I let CELT know that it's on the market. It's probably going to sell. And sometimes, after a really long period of time, it's a good idea to do a new baseline documentation or current conditions, especially with a new owner. And so I've asked CELT to give us a quote. I think I copied you, Tom, on that, to see could they do a new baseline and how much that would cost. So basically you go out and you find all the monuments that you can and take new pictures to show where things are. And it's a good idea when a new owner comes in because things grow up and people forget what the limitations are.
What's the size of that property?
60, 65 acres, I think.
65, yeah.
Somewhere in that,
That's pretty big.
67, yeah.
You have to look it on conservation notebook.
Yes, it should be in there. All right, great, thanks.
Everyone brought.
Thanks for keeping tabs on that, Tom. All right, we'll move along. Conservation land stewardship, Heron Point Sanctuary. Last month we approved the boundary survey, so it's on that company's calendar. It should be probably, I assume, in October, November. He's going to work on that. And the tree removal is also going to get done sometime in October, but the town's paying for that. That's not coming out of our budget.
So when they do that, are they gonna really flag it?
Yes, we'll make sure he flags it well. The boundary survey?
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll put new monuments if there are any missing, and he'll flag the boundary. Right? That's the way they usually do it. I did hear from the estate, the community, and they wanted some additional survey work, which I wasn't really clear, but I just referred them to Paul because that would be sort of on their, like on the roadside, or I wasn't quite sure. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to have him do some additional work. So we're good there. Piscassic River Lazare, we talked about the rail replacements, and DPW said they would start mowing the path and around the rails, which is Tom Loisel had been doing it, and he would appreciate it if the town took that over. So Karen Bloom, who oversees all that, said they would. That's nice.
Thanks, Tom, for many years.
Yeah, Tom's been doing it for many years. Very conscientious about that. Wigan Farm Boardwalk replacement. So we got the permit. Yay! We just got the permit today after a lot of work by Mark West.
Was it the cheap one?
Yes, permit by notification. We already have the permit.
$25.
Yes. So, so a couple of things around this project. I forget when we did it, but back sometime we approved $520 for Mark to do essentially the delineation and the consultation. It wasn't for the actual permit application. So I sent you, I think, the invoice today. He sent it to me yesterday because he just got it all done. So that's an additional $628.10, which makes sense to me because he actually had to do a lot of work because the wetlands permitting right now is a little crazy, and it was well worth it because he was able to get it all in there and get just the permit by notification. So it's awesome. So we do need to approve that. And just a reminder that we have 2 grants for this project. We have a $7,500 grant from LRAC and a, whatever the other amount is, we have a $3,200 or so grant from the Great Bay Partnership for the entire project. So this money that we approve for Mark West will come into that, essentially out of that grant. So if you're willing, I could use a motion to approve this invoice to pay Mark West for $1,148.10. $1,148.10.
How many cents, I'm sorry?
10.
Okay.
It's very specific.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to pay Mark West.
Okay, thank you. Second?
I can second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And Greg DeSanto, who did the Old Lee Class A trail work, he will be doing this, and he thinks probably sometime in November, hopefully early November. And I'll let everybody know because we can actually help him dismantle the existing boardwalk and might save us some money, and if anybody's interested. It's probably going to be during the week, so those who are available.
Yeah, how will you send that out? Just send an email blast?
Yeah, I'll just send an email blast to let people know, and if it's in the afternoon, if any students want to come help, that'd be awesome. It's going to be a nice one to get that fixed up. Okay, so I don't think I have anything else for land stewardship. Do you have anything, are you on trails? Any updates for you on?
So
Boulder?
I'm still waiting to hear from Bart what his take is on liability issues.
This is the Boulder Trail over.
The
by-
Boulder
yeah.
Trail. I did see the HOA chair, and they were walking by the house, and I mentioned to him that we were looking into that, and we were trying to figure that out, and he said to me that they have insurance to cover that. So, I didn't ask him for proof or whatever, but I think we'll wait to hear from Bart, from what his research he gets out of that. I did also mention that I was hoping to get a small chipper in there because wood chips that we presently have probably will fill up, maybe an eighth of the trail. I'm looking to add some additional ones where there's some roots exposed. He kind of poo-pooed that. He was feeling like he doesn't really want chainsaws or chippers in there to put that down, and I think it's really coming back to a liability issue. So I think at the moment I don't know if the town has wood chips anywhere, if they stockpile them.
No, but you can, John, where did the ones you got come from?
They came from one of the HOA, the homeowners.
Yeah, you can, John Roy does, Orion Tree Service does a lot of the tree work, and you can just tell them you want a whole, they'll dump a whole load there whenever
They're cutting.
they're always trying to get rid of their wood chips, so
Yeah.
they'll dump some for you.
That's what I figured. So, it'll be easy enough to wheelbarrow stuff in.
Yeah.
And what I have to do now is, probably write it up and give him a game plan for what the intent is and what it would look like. He's very supportive of it and wants to see it used, but I think there's some concern.
Yeah, we typically, chainsaws are not a no-go for volunteers on town properties or land trust properties, or, it's just, if you drop a tree on yourself, it wouldn't be such a good thing.
I've dropped hundreds of trees.
I know.
to you.
Lots of people are very skilled, but it's still, it's like a no.
We had concerns
Yeah,
and volunteers, and we needed trees down, and volunteers were happy to do it, quite confident.
yeah,
But the insurance company said,
Yeah. yeah. Yep. Okay, great. All right, thanks for
So we'll
that.
keep on working it. And, I think I'm not sure how much we'll try to get done before the snow flies, but we'll dive back into it.
All right, great, thank you. All right, projects and events, Old Class A trail improvements, as you saw by the report, that's all done. I think it's working. Have you been out there to see it?
Actually, today,
Oh,
looks great.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've been asking people, how does it feel? We put those signs up. I seen they're still,
I was on my horse and he was looking at it like, that's different.
yeah, so,
But,
yeah, I think it came out, worked well. I think it did what it was supposed to do in terms of, well, we'll
yeah,
know
I mean,
when we
we did
get.
have just some rain.
Yeah,
and
so
it was
there's, yeah,
dry.
yeah, so under the dips, there's a lot of stone.
Okay.
It may look like it's just dirt, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of
and there's
strings.
leaves over it now too.
Yeah, yeah,
so.
yeah, so he does a pretty good job. He's working now on Mraz Trailhead off of Ball
Okay,
Hill Road.
I saw the closing
Yeah,
sign.
yeah. So that's done. Turtle Fest, Chris was going to give an update, couldn't make it tonight, so a lot of planning going on, as we talked about, I think, last meeting. We met with the library. The library staff are very excited about Turtle Fest 25 and collaborating, and we're going to I'm meeting with Assistant Librarian and Heather, who's the Children's Librarian, I guess, tomorrow at Piscataqua Lizelle to talk. You know, they do that storybook every year on there, and I just wanted to meet with them to see if they wanted to do anything more, like, because I think they're a great partner. And in terms of Turtle Fest, we're talking about, you know, they'll have all kinds of books available, and they'll do some special programming and so forth around Turtle Fest. So,
Great.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'm sure Chris will have more updates next meeting, but that's moving along well. I don't have any updates on Ash Swamp Road. I think the grant applications are still out there pending. Do you have anything, Jeff, on Ash Swamp?
There was a bobcat on top of the culvert. the other day.
Bobcat?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
man.
backing down my driveway and I was standing right in the middle of Ash Swamp
Oh, my
Road,
gosh.
right over the culvert.
How much you figure he weighed?
Wow.
How much it weighed?
Maybe 25?
15,
Yeah, they're
25?
small.
Yeah, they're small. They're lanky, but
That's
they're
they are.
thin.
awesome.
Yeah. He's just standing there looking at me. I put my car in park and it bolted into the swamp.
That's great, Jeff. That's cool. It's a great
Yeah,
observation.
definitely had turtles hatch in my yard. 3 spots. There were two of them were snapping turtles and one was a sun turtle.
Painted.
The painted turtle nests. Yeah, there's 3 nests hatched. But I haven't seen any other activity.
I saw
Beavers are back.
Here's back.
freshly squashed painted turtle on there.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Was it today?
Yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Took a nice big scrap.
Yeah.
Has the road signs helped, do you think?
What's that?
Have the signs and the markings helped at all?
I definitely know that some people go slower, and I definitely know that when the sign was there, you know, I bet on average, if you average it all, it's about the same, because I think some people saw the sign as a test of their
They
vehicle.
go slower.
And they
They
go
go
fast
faster.
as they can. And a lot of people definitely still slow down. I think people are interested, like, what's going on?
Yeah, yeah.
This is weird. Why is this like this?
Yeah.
I've had silly inquiries of like, well, do the turtles know to use that crosswalk you painted?
Yeah, sure, they're really sure.
We trained them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it definitely raised awareness for sure. I know one of the signs went missing, the one that's up by the golf course, that had the big turtle and the little turtle on it.
Oh, really?
And that was placed there pretty soon after, I think, the first time we saw. Actually, it was because when they put in the development at the golf course, we started to see a few blandings out on the road up in there, and that is also where the box turtle was found, on the road, kind of just around that first bend past the golf course, west of the golf course. So that sign, I mean, it's about time. It's almost time to take them down anyway.
Yeah.
But if we want another sign
Okay.
reinstalled over there, I don't think people like the bigger signs that just have one turtle on them.
Yeah, I think-
I've heard people say, that's so cute with the little
You
turtles.
noticed
know?
it, yeah, you noticed.
Yeah.
Did,
I mean,
does DPW buy those, or do we pay for those in the past?
well, in the past, those came from the state of New Hampshire, supplied those as part of their, like a long
Oh.
time ago, as part of their.
Okay, we can ask Josh, maybe
their
they still
push.
have some.
Yeah, maybe. I thought that then, but then the other kind with the smaller turtle and the bigger turtle, I think we purchased those.
Okay,
I mean, this was like,
long time ago, all right.
I don't know, 2014 maybe, so like 10 years at least
Alright.
ago, so I don't recall where exactly they came
Alright.
from.
We can check.
So the speed limit sign going east is the one that they've moved up to here. The town only has one of those.
Yeah,
You're going this
yeah.
fast,
Yeah.
slow down. Thank you.
Yeah, they definitely took it down.
Yeah, but they put it up here as you approach the school.
School, yeah. No, okay.
Yeah, there's another one too.
I wonder
that's
how much those cost
Put up on Hersey, I
and
believe.
whether we could urge the town to invest.
Well,
enough.
the biggest comment I got on that was, what's the speed limit on Ash Swamp Road?
But they posted all new traffic signs, so
I still
all.
haven't even noticed one on my
No,
road.
no, it happened
Not on
after one of
our
our meetings where we might have mentioned to Lindsay, we don't even know how fast you can go. They put one at the trailhead area by the Rockingham Junction.
Okay.
They put one right before you go Dippy down to Palming. And they put
Really?
one at Grant and Ashland as you turn on. So for the first
Okay.
time in the 20 years I've been here, those speed signs are up.
It's
What
interesting
is the
because...
30.
30.
30, yeah.
It's
That's what I
interesting.
would've
Amazingly
guessed.
so, 30.
It's interesting
People
because...
are exceeding by 40, and I've seen people doing 50 trooping along.
I mean, I've been going 35 down Nash Swamp and been passed.
Yeah.
Like, so,
Yes.
I mean,
I know.
I don't know.
Well,
But
I was
it's
told
funny,
when I
haven't
first
noticed
moved
that.
here by my brother, who's afraid of anything with a blue light, that never to exceed the 30 miles on Ashwaubenon, because they used to have cruisers out there all the time and nail you.
It's interesting because they do, they,
Like the number one road.
yeah. They usually get pulled over right in front of my house, actually.
Yes.
Because they sit right at the, where there's a little barn back off the road there. But there was
But
a
it's
heron
30.
in there.
It's 30.
There was a heron in there fishing, and there's been a resident kingfisher. And I know you had mentioned fish in there to me, or to us before, about like looking for grant money. So that we had a kingfisher all summer there. So it's eating something.
Yeah,
There
It's
was
the same one that comes over to my road.
Yeah.
and there was a heron in there.
Yeah.
I was told about
Nice.
They
fishing.
hang out on the Mill too. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Very good.
Something there.
It's active.
Yeah.
They're connected,
Yeah.
as we know from our
Yeah.
wetlands mapping.
Yes.
Great. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. Cool stuff. Very cool. So prime wetlands mapping, we heard from Mark last month. I haven't heard anything more from him. So we'll just keep posted on that. Mitchell Land Conservation Project, I know they're just waiting for grants, hoping that those come through. And I put Salamander Brigade Vernal Pool Survey. Zach, who isn't here tonight, is very interested in that. And so he was going to chat about that, but we can just delay that till next meeting. Yeah, so is there anything else? Otherwise, we do want to go into non-public for something, but if there's anything in public, because we won't come back into the public session.
Heron Point, what we cleaned up last year, the wet leaves and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that. Is that something that we want to schedule or just see how it goes to?
No, that's kind of what we do in May, but I remember that, I forgot that you did that, I think you did that in the fall, so
Yeah.
that would be a great thing to do.
Just get those wet leaves
Yeah.
off the decks.
Do you think that's just that one person? Because that was actually an afternoon project the school could also help with.
Yeah, it might be something that we could set up a time to do.
Yeah, that'd be
I mean, if
perfect.
there is half a dozen people,
Yeah.
it would go quick and,
Yeah, you kind of need brooms and some rakes and hose or
Rakes, yeah.
something just to, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to, would you be willing to lead that and
Yeah.
communicate with Emma?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that'd be perfect. Awesome.
Is that gate working?
No, I don't think so, it's locked, so the gate's locked, you know that, yeah.
So can we unlock the gate and go in, or is it hoof it in?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say with the combination in public, but we do have a combination, we can open that.
Okay.
So I
good.
can relay that to you and
All right.
let Rick know.
Yeah, and if you could send an email to the two of
Yeah.
us,
Yep.
and then we'll coordinate it.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Great,
I mean, I think we'll wait till 90% of the leaves are down. and-
yeah. Yeah, because it gets slippery if you don't actually take those off, so
Yeah.
that's good.
It's another time of year to remind people about leaf-blowing trails, too.
Yes.
Not
I know.
preferred.
Not preferred.
I was out on the Zell the other day, and I didn't see the raker. Fully expect to see it, though.
The rake or leaf blow, we should say, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Anything else before we go into a non-public? All right. We'll make a motion to go into non-public per RSA 91-A:3, comma, is that a 2? D. This is to talk about land conservation. So, do I have a motion?
7:48 p.m.
Sure, that sounds good. Do I have a motion?
I so moved.
Okay, Tom, second?
Second.
Julie? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. All right.